Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to my podcast, Bobby Lee Bitcoin. And today we have two very special guests. We have Tyler and Sophie Dee, both serial entrepreneurs and content creators. And they're now the co-founder of Gig Social, which is a two-sided marketplace for influencers and brands. And they were also co-founders of an upcoming SFW NFT. Okay, that stands for Self-Funded Woman. So welcome to the show. Welcome to the Bobby Lee Bitcoin podcast. We're going to talk about Bitcoin and crypto and any other questions you may have. One more thing. And Sophie is very, very famous. She has 15 million followers on social media.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Want to tell us about that first?
She's a big deal.
A big deal.
I mean, my Instagram is really getting pretty popular.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just started TikTok. It's actually pretty cool learning all the different videos and stuff for TikTok. But
Yes.
yeah,
And
it's
what's your TikTok account? Maybe you could share that with the audience.
Mine's Sophie Dee Live, and my Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook is just Sophie Dee.
Okay, good, good. How about Tyler?
Yeah, my Instagram is ttom1010. That's TTHOM 1010.
I need to change that one, make
I know.
it shorter. Now
I need to find something else.
Now you're trending.
And then my TikTok is the same thing with another 10 on top. So I need to
we need to make it.
I need to figure it out. And
Yeah.
I am currently going viral right now on Instagram. My reels, I have a reel I posted yesterday that's over 3 million followers right now. And before that, my top reel was like 10,000. So
Wow, from
Yeah.
10,000 to 3
Exciting.
million.
Yeah.
Yeah, soon to be a billion.
yeah.
So how did the two of you get into crypto? And tell us why you're interested in crypto.
It's been like 2 years now almost.
Yeah, about 2 years. So you mentioned Gig Social. That's our primary business. We've been working on a new platform, and we started that almost 2 years ago. So we didn't realize that building a complex site like this would take that long. We thought it would take 4 or 5 months.
Yep.
And so after starting it, we were just like, okay, what else should we do while we're waiting for the completion of this?
Yeah.
And that's when we started getting into crypto. And it just sort of sucked us in.
Yeah, does Gig Social, does that platform interact with crypto? Does it take crypto for payments or
It will, yes. It
Yeah, it
does.
will.
It does accept crypto, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
People do buy ads through there too, like asking, to promote an NFT or,
Mm-hmm.
certain low coins or something.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Essentially, the focus of it is it's very difficult to get an influencer to post your brand. If you try to DM them or email them, they rarely respond. And then there's an issue of trust between both sides. And then keeping that influencer on track with posting at the right time and all that stuff. So our marketplace makes it easy where I can find the influencer I want that's perfect for the campaign I'm looking for.
Yep.
I purchase directly through there. We hold the money in escrow. The influencer completes the post, and then the payment is released. So
Excellent.
making it much easier.
Yeah.
And which crypto specifically? Is it Bitcoin or do you also support different ones?
I believe it's Bitcoin and then a couple stable coins.
Yeah, we haven't added that part yet. So we're doing
Yeah, we're literally working on that right now. That's
Yeah.
the final step. So.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, when did you start hearing about Bitcoin and investing in Bitcoin for the first time? How long ago was that?
Someone actually told me years
Yeah.
ago to buy it. And, I was just like everybody else, like, that's
You bought
just
you bought a million
something.
Bitcoins?
I wish. I so wish I listened to those people. But no.
Yeah, and the same thing. I first heard about it probably 7 or 8 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
The challenge was that, it's only a few amount of people that are talking about it.
Yes.
So you just think that they're crazy, and smart people that you talk to, and they're like, Bitcoin, like, no, don't waste your time on that.
Yes.
And so it's just, we never really thought about it.
But now, seriously, we've got into it maybe about a year ago, right? A year and a half now, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So when it had its rise to like 66,000 during the COVID time,
Yes.
I think a
Which was
lot
about
of
9 months ago.
it was
Yeah.
about 9
Yeah.
months ago.
Yeah.
A lot of the mainstream retail investors started noticing it because all of the news starts covering Bitcoin, and of course, when it's going to 60, everything is saying, oh, it's going to go to 100, it's going to go to 200.
yeah.
So it draws everybody in.
Yeah.
And now what we're going through is Bitcoin has seen a major correction.
Yep.
A lot of it due to the economy and whatnot. And so now all the news is saying it's going to zero. It
Yeah.
freaks everybody out.
Yeah, it's scary.
It's quite very volatile and very extremes, right?
Exactly.
Two huge extremes.
Yep.
Yeah, this is actually very common. So your earlier part of the story about hearing about crypto 5, 7, 8 years ago, and like you said, there's some people who were really convinced back then that Bitcoin is a great investment, but yet there are other quote unquote experts who dismissed it, 7 to 8 years ago. And you just don't know whether they're fanatics or whether they truly know what they're talking about. So it's a very common, it's an education thing. There's a lot of noise, and the signal to noise ratio is not very high.
Yes.
Because overall Bitcoin started by word of mouth, right? Literally, there wasn't a company pushing a campaign to educate the whole world about Bitcoin.
Correct.
And it's been done organically over the years by the industry leaders and speakers and industry participants. So there's no coordinated effort to educate the world about Bitcoin.
Yes.
Yeah.
And most of us, I feel like back in the day, we get our information from mainstream media.
Then it's too late.
Well, yeah, that's usually the case, right?
Yeah.
But what I've learned over the last couple of years, and how I've learned as much as I have, is through people like you and people that are so dedicated to the project and have podcasts and have YouTube channels. And when you hear them speak, you don't feel any single doubt in their mind. And it doesn't matter what the price is at. Like,
Correct.
I'm guessing
Correct.
I could tell you right now, oh, it's down to 20. Do you think it's going to go down to 0? Your belief in it would not be phased
Exactly.
in any way.
Still very strong.
And I think that's
Conviction.
what's really important is, as you start to learn, you want to be surround yourself with people that really understand it, that have dedicated their life to really understanding as much as possible about Bitcoin, rather than some finance channel that really has no interest whatsoever, and they'll just do a quick piece on it.
Yeah.
I like it that even like one of my financial advisors is like secretly like into Bitcoin.
Oh, really?
He's
But
obviously
secretly.
not. He's obviously not telling me like don't buy Bitcoin, but he's in favor for it, which you can tell, and that's kind of reassuring too. When you can see like he gets a little excited about Bitcoin.
Yep. And a lot of us listen to our financial advisors.
Yeah.
But because Bitcoin it's not fully regulated yet by
Yes.
the SEC, they can't legally come out and say, oh yeah,
should buy
invest in
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
No, that's true, because Bitcoin is still not fully kosher, so to speak, quote unquote, right? So it's still sort of a fringe investment. So a lot of the professionals, even if they secretly admire it, secretly maybe invest a little bit themselves, they feel like it's not the right thing to talk about, to present to it publicly, unless they're really hardcore like myself, right? But
Yeah.
yet I'm not a financial advisor per se, right? So it's kind of like this dichotomy where you have the crypto experts who are really pro Bitcoin. They want to tell you to invest, but then they don't have the financial background or the pedigree, and they have the existing financial institutions and the advisors and all the so-called educated people, yet they're very non-educated.
You're exactly right.
On Bitcoin. So it's a big imbalance.
Yeah.
And this is why I wrote a book, on Promise of Bitcoin, to really get the message out for the mass. And also I started this podcast. So I've been in Bitcoin for 11 years, and only this year did I really commit to starting a podcast to talk about it for everyday people.
I think it's amazing that you're doing that,
Yeah.
because literally podcasts and YouTube, that is where I gather all my information on this. And
Yeah.
I think when people realize that and they start coming in, they listen to this podcast, they're going to realize that the traditional way that they were gathering information in the past, that there's always some sort of like asterisk next to it. There's a reason that certain information gets pushed out. And, for you, you don't have that. It's literally, you have a love for Bitcoin and you're
Yes.
trying to share it with the world.
Yes, exactly. And try to dispel some myths, answer questions, and overall, teach people
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
about, and
good.
also share my own experiences about, what I've gone through, the journey I've gone through. Because for me, it's also a learning process.
Yeah.
I tell people I'm learning each year, despite that I've been in this for 11 years. Each year, I'm still learning more and more new things about Bitcoin and the ecosystem and Bitcoin as an investment. So
Got
it's a nonstop life process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we ask you like a couple questions?
Yeah, please,
that
please.
Just been on our mind. So can you just explain why Bitcoin, in your mind, just
Yeah.
in like a few sentences, why is it the best investment, and why do you believe that we are still in the beginning stages? If you were
Sure,
to invest, a lot of people feel like they missed the boat.
Sure. So Bitcoin, some people have described it as a generational opportunity. So what that means is it's not an opportunity of the year or of the quarter or of a week. Like think of time frame, like a week, a month. This year is the investment opportunity of the month or of the year, right? But they call it generational. So it's not just a few years, but tens of years, like a generation of human population. So we think Bitcoin is truly the investment opportunity of the generation. And the reason is because this is a brand new asset class. Think about all the asset classes. So people usually think of stocks and bonds. You think of real estate. You think of precious metals like gold and silver. And some people think of diamonds and jewelry. Some people think of artwork. And pretty much that covers everything. Or unless you want to talk about antique cars and paintings and stuff like that. So globally speaking, in large asset classes are the ones I've mentioned. But none of that is a truly digital asset class. And Bitcoin is the first truly digital asset class that is decentralized, not controlled by anyone. So for that, I personally believe that human civilization, technology progression with the internet, I think we're going to have more and more technology in the coming decades and centuries, right? Imagine our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Will there be an internet for them to use? Of course there will be. And the question is, in that time, whether it's 50 or 100 years, will there be digital payments on the internet? And of course there will be. And the question is, will it be centralized like the world today, or will there be a more decentralized version? And I believe that there will be a lot of choices. And for the decentralized version, I think Bitcoin is going to be the king of that world. And that's why today Bitcoin is under probably just $400 billion of value, 400 to 500 billion. And I think it's going to go into the tens, if not hundreds of trillions of dollars. So this is what's going to give it 100x and more in terms of increase potential.
So we're not too late, is what you're saying.
Not too late at all. I mean, obviously, if you caught Bitcoin 10 years ago, but the problem is, here's another fallacy. People are like, oh, I missed the boat. I should have invested 10 years ago. But the reality is, for example, I've been in Bitcoin for 11 years. And 10 years ago, you asked me, did I sink my life savings in it? No, of course not. Because 10 years ago, I was only 1 year into it. Mm-hmm. I was more of a newbie than you are today. Mm-hmm. And do you think I was willing to sell my house? And
No.
Of course not.
No.
Right? So only with time and with better understanding and deeper knowledge, I've gained even more conviction of Bitcoin. So it's way early. For the people who are buying in today, or bought in last year, they felt like, oh my gosh, they bought in at a high price. Now it's come down a little bit. They feel bad. But I'm like, you don't invest in Bitcoin for the short-term trade. The short-term, I mean like months and weeks and months, right? You're doing it for the long term, like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. You got to have that long-term horizon.
Yeah, it's an investment. Mm-hmm. Do you think that 17 was the lowest?
$17,000. So recently, in the recent 3 weeks, we saw $17,000.
Yep.
So on this front, I'm a little bit, I recognize the volatility. I think actually it's going to go down lower.
Okay.
I think it could easily touch $15,000. Now it's trading at $22,000. I think it could easily crash down, what they call like a dip down, and touch 15, but it'll bounce back up. But I wouldn't. So if you're looking to put more money in Bitcoin, I wouldn't wait for that day, because that day will just be a day. It will be a certain hour, a certain minute within the hour, within the day, and you'll be doing something else. You won't be ready to catch that at $15,000. So by the time you realize it, it's going to go back up to $17,000 or $20,000.
Yeah, I missed the 17. I was
same
so
reason.
bummed.
Same reason. Yeah. So
I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I tell people never try to time it.
Yeah.
Dollar cost average.
Dollar cost average.
Identify how much. Of course, there's always still risk with this. So it's identify how much that you're willing to put out there, and then break it up and say,
exactly. Exactly. Over a course of a few weeks, over a course of a few months, and you just be at peace with it, because it could go up or it could go down. If it goes up, that means the earlier stuff you bought was at a lower price. If it goes down, then it's later. But no regrets.
But do they have the option, just like we were talking about with our stocks and bonds the other day, if it falls to a certain amount, it will automatically buy in? Like the platforms don't have that, so we could set it if it falls to 16.
You can do that on a centralized exchange, right?
You could do it on an exchange, but only if you have money deposit in the exchange ready to buy.
But you could get it ready for the day.
But you got to put the money in there, right? If you're on vacation and your money's in your regular bank account, then it won't work.
Okay.
You got to move the money into the exchange and have it be ready there.
But
so
that
when
could
it
be
drops.
a good option.
Is it okay to store your Bitcoin and other crypto on
On an exchange.
exchanges?
So the answer is, technical answer, of course it's okay. Millions of, maybe even hundreds of millions of people worldwide do that. Okay, to my chagrin, actually. And the reason I say that is because exchanges are one of the easiest ways for people to store and hold their cryptocurrency investment, because it's an account relationship. You just log in, you register for an account, and it's a username, password with some two-factor authentication, stuff like that. And it's pretty simple. You don't have to set up any wallets and stuff like that. So that's been the default. It's been like this, in fact, for the last 12 years. The very first exchange, MTGOX, that's how it started. But what we as industry long-timers have realized is, because exchanges are centralized, in the end they're a company, they're a target. It's a honeypot for hackers to go and try to steal the coins. What's happened is, routinely over the last 10, 12 years, exchanges have been hacked left and right. Multiple hacks of multiple exchanges every single year.
It's just going to get worse.
So, I don't know if it's going to get worse or better, but it's not going to end.
Yeah.
So what I tell people is, if you intend, if you're only buying Bitcoin for a week or a month, then you could leave it on the exchange and sell it. But, just back to what I said, we don't recommend buying Bitcoin for short-term trading. So if you're buying Bitcoin for long-term holding, 5 years, 10 years, then you should try to not rely on exchanges.
Can it be hacked from a wallet if you store it on a wallet?
So hardware. So you must be thinking of so the company the second startup I created is called Ballet. We make cold storage wallets, and I think you've seen this, right? We do samples, right? So for a cold storage wallet, the idea is you put the Bitcoin on a cold storage wallet. It's a physical device that's not connected to the internet. So there's no radio frequency, there's no Wi-Fi, there's no Bluetooth, NFC, there's nothing connected to the internet. So it cannot be remotely hacked.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
When you got it printed and it has the barcode, the numbers on the back, where is that trail? Like wherever it got printed, obviously there's like.
Yeah. So Ballet, the Ballet wallets are unique that we're the only hardware cold storage maker where the wallet is ready to use out of the box. So what we do is we provide the entropy. We have a two-factor, two-location manufacturing process. We will provide the entropy that's used to generate the private key. And we provide that on the card itself, so it becomes a bearer asset. So there's no record keeping of that. There's no logging of that, because otherwise it could lead to a lot of security risks, right? It's kind of like when you sign up for Google account, you choose your own password, right? Now, if the computer saves it for you, it saves it in some very secret keychain, right? It doesn't just spit out an email the password back to you, right? Then everyone can see it, right? Or nor does Google store it on the servers per se, right? So it's very important that the private key stuff is handled very securely. So Ballet, we handle very securely. We only create the entropy that's used to create the private key. And when you buy the wallet, the private key is actually not generated until you yourself combine the entropy through the app to generate the private key.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, and that's done offline. That can be done offline as well.
That's cool.
I had another question. You mentioned that one of the key features of Bitcoin is that it's completely decentralized. When I first got into crypto, people would say that, oh, it's decentralized, and that's why it's going to be so valuable. And I never fully comprehended the concept of decentralization. And so I'm curious from your perspective what that really means.
So decentralization is actually, so the word, I don't know how long that word's been in a dictionary, but as a concept in society, it's actually relatively new. So Bitcoin was invented in 2009. So prior to 2009, all financial institutions, everything we talk about, from banks to accounts to trading, all of that are centralized. We just don't think about it. It's kind of like gravity. Everyone on Earth is impacted and affected by gravity, with the exception of astronauts, on the space station, for example. Yet it affects everyone, but we don't talk about it. It's like air. The air that we're breathing, we can see through the air, so we don't even talk about it. Right? Only when you utilize contraptions where you measure the air pressure, then you feel, oh yeah, there's air here, right? So decentralization is kind of the same thing. Because everything's centralized, it's like gravity. That's just the course of affairs for every day. So only when Bitcoin came around, finally we have decentralization. And that's when people's like, oh, aha. So this place has no gravity. Now we see, in contrast, everywhere else has gravity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sure.
So decentralization, all it means is that it's a system where no one is in charge, but yet everyone contributes and are in charge, right? Because traditionally, for centralized systems, someone is in charge and they have the authority to change things. So, for example, I'm sure you have credit cards. You have credit card reward points. How many points do you get per purchase? How long are those points valid? What can you redeem? Well, it's centralized by your credit card issuing company, right? Think of hotel reward points. Think of airlines, those miles you get. What can you redeem? Can you get upgrades? How many? They've changed those rules over the years, right? It used to be you fly 2,000 miles, you get 2,000 miles, right?
Yeah.
Now it's like something.
Now it's like really hard.
Now it's all different calculation, and they can change the rule, and they say, oh yeah, miles don't expire, but yet when the company goes bankrupt, they expire the miles, so they can change the rules. So now when I see miles never expire, I'm like, yeah, whatever. That's only your latest saying. What if you're in distress, you might say something else.
Yes.
Right. So those are all centralized systems, no different than the Chuck E. Cheese tokens, right, or the New York subway tokens, right. So it's only as good as the company backing it is willing to redeem it. Whether if Chuck E. Cheese, are they still in business?
Yeah, I think
They are. But the idea is that if the store closes, if they shut down, then your Chuck E. Cheese tokens are useless, like Dave and Buster's, credits, right?
I'm a model on a platform, and they had lifetime referrals, and I had a lot of models underneath me. A lot. I was making pretty good money on it.
Okay.
And then one day they just decided that they're going to just stop it.
Yeah. And
even though they posted everywhere that it was lifetime,
right? So that's the whole point, right? So centralized systems have the problem where they can change your mind.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
Whereas, right? So even, for example, when we earn the US dollars we earn today for working, right? I don't care what job you earn money in the US dollars. Whether it's $100 or $1,000, we have an idea of what that can buy us. Whether it's a vacation, whether it's food and drinks, entertainment, rent, or whatever. However, if inflation really goes up the roof with double-digit or whatever, triple-digit inflation, like we see hyperinflation in some countries, then your $1,000 will not go very far. And we're seeing that happening already, right? In Las Vegas, what I call Las Vegas the entertainment capital of the U.S., and I say it's a trendsetter in terms of prices for the rest of the nation. So everything's more expensive here on the Strip in Las Vegas. So steaks, like a steak dinner, what used to be, $25 to $45 are now like $65 to $85, or even $100, over $100, right? The fancy Kobe, whatever beef.
Oh, we just ate at that salt-based restaurant, and how much were the steaks? Like $250 a steak.
Oh, that's crazy. So $250 is crazy, right? $250 is crazy expensive.
It was really good, but
it's crazy expensive. Okay, it's really good, I'm sure. Now, if I told you in 5 years you'll be eating steaks in Las Vegas for $1,200. Like today, you can't even comprehend that. But maybe within a few years, it happens. Literally, you'll go to a high-end steak restaurant. Oh, this steak, $1,200. You're like, what's going on? Right? It's no different than the burgers. Burgers used to be $2, $3. Now they're $5, $6.
It's
and
like
one day,
airline flights right now.
Exactly. Airline prices, same thing. So all of this, inflation, the fuel cost, the cost of living, the CPI index. So when that stuff goes up, you holding that $100 bill, you holding the $50 bill or the $20 bill, is really you're just not, the money's slipping away from you, right? It's really sad. So that's why Bitcoin is what I consider a investment opportunity of a lifetime, because with Bitcoin, they can't do that to you because no one is control. No one can say, oh, let's issue more Bitcoin and dilute it. Bitcoin is going to only be maximum 21 million. So today, as of 2022, we only have about 19 million in circulation. And there's going to be 2 more million that come out very slowly over the next 120 years. Yeah.
And then they go up in value when people sell, because once someone, if there is none to sell, the value will just keep going up every time someone tries to sell one.
Yeah, if people, or rather, if more and more people want to buy it, and
there isn't any
there's artificial
sale.
Demand. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and for us, we definitely go down the rabbit hole with like conspiracy theories, and we don't have a lot of faith in, sometimes certain government institutions, and sometimes whoever controls the money, the big banks. And what we saw, recently, last couple of years, you saw the Canadian truckers had their funds frozen from their bank accounts.
That's another,
And, and even whole countries, were
being like Russia, right?
Russia
being sanctioned.
With the sanctions, the U.S. just literally took their money away from them.
And even your bank account, they're only insuring up to $250
Yes.
each per bank account.
Yep.
So if Wells Fargo decides, to like go under, they
So-
take all your money.
Yeah. So let's talk about the sanctions a little bit.
Yeah.
So as an American, obviously we're supportive of the sanctions against Russia, right?
Yes.
Given what's happening in Ukraine and all that stuff. But on the other hand, my libertarian side is sort of thinking this is actually bad for the US dollar, bad for the system, because it just proves that a centralized system, they can arbitrarily change the rules.
So every other country has seen this now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's why.
And
That's
every
why the-
country has to hold U.S. dollar because it is the reserve currency of the world.
And that's why the U.S. dollar strength will go down over time. That's why the U.S. dollar status as a global reserve currency will deteriorate. It'll decay, literally. It's literally decay in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
Right. When the country says, "Oh, we're not going to recognize your U.S. dollars. We're going to just fence it off, and you don't get to use it." Well, then that's scary, because today I'm not Russia, but tomorrow you could treat me the same way.
Yeah.
No matter what country or what citizen, right? Whether you're a private citizen, they sanction individuals in Russia and their relatives and their oligarchs and all that stuff. So they could seize your yachts. They could, obviously these are rich people, but anything can happen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you have it stored on a cold storage wallet, there is nothing the government can do to take your
Aside from capturing you and torturing you.
Seizing everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that just makes me feel much more safe. And I think for us as Americans, we've never really thought about inflation. We're like, oh, okay, I know it's a little bit more money. Now we're really feeling the effects of it after the Fed has printed all of the money they have. But to me, there's other countries around the world that hyperinflation is normal for them. They can see their currency lose value, 50% overnight.
Yeah, that's why a lot of those countries use U.S. dollars. So when I grew up in Africa, I grew up in West Africa, what they call developing country, third world country at that time it was labeled. And a lot of the local people, businessmen, whatnot, they would earn money, and the first thing they do is convert it to U.S. dollars. Back then, they didn't even have the euro, right? So they converted to U.S. dollar. U.S. dollar was considered the safe haven, the hard currency, whereas a local currency could just wither away.
Yeah.
And I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah. So for us, we're very passionate about educating people in the space as well. And that's why we're doing this NFT project.
And I'm still learning.
And she's learning as well. And that's why we're very big on, how we want to bring in experts to educate, because we can't necessarily educate a lot of these people. But she identified that all of the models that she knows in the space, they haven't gotten into crypto yet.
They want to be involved. They just don't know how or, what's...
It's a bit hard. It's a bit hard, right? So setting up wallets are very difficult. Yep. So the most common wallet is what they call a wallet that runs on your mobile phone. So you download an application. No, those are actually Coinbase is actually an exchange. So there's 3 tiers. So there's an exchange tier, which is a crypto institution, financial institution, which holds your crypto. So it's a custodial wallet, meaning you send your crypto Bitcoins to that company, and they owe you that liability. It's kind of like a bank. You deposit your money in the bank, and then you see a bank balance, right? So you see a crypto balance. That's the Coinbase, the exchange model. The second model is you hold your own crypto. You don't store it on the custodial storage, but it's called self-hosted. Okay, it's called self-hosted or unhosted, as opposed to being hosted by the company by Coinbase. Now you're self-hosting your crypto. This is non-custodial, meaning it's not held by someone else, it's held by yourself. And this is the wallet, like you said, which one did you say? You said MetaMask, I'm Token, Trust Wallet, a bunch of these wallets that are running on a mobile phone or a PC. Okay. Now, however, those wallets are all hot wallets because the software and the private keys are on a device that's connected to the internet. So they're prone to hacking.
Yep.
Whether it's a phishing attempt or brute force hacking, or someone drills into your phone, or someone gets a backup a copy of your data on the phone through the iCloud or whatever backup software you use. So that is at risk of hacking.
I've recently been hacked.
Who?
I recently
was hacked,
Oh
yeah.
no! What happened?
So a guy, just a random dude, and my T-Mobile account is solely just me.
Yeah.
It's just me on it.
Of
I don't
course.
have him on it or anything. A guy went into T-Mobile store, told him that his phone was broken,
Yep.
and that they needed to change the SIM card over to
Oh
his
no!
phone.
Okay.
So
and they
my phone
took
just
over your phone number.
took over my
Yep.
whole entire phone, like everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, we
And
had
then what?
some.
Where did you store your coins? Where did you get hacked?
Well, actually, because we were new at the time, he had texted me a wallet.
I had texted her the seed phrase to the wallet,
Oh,
and he was able to
gosh.
get access to the seed phrase, and then he stole about $20,000 worth
My
of crypto.
goodness.
Yeah, so it's so.
How long ago
scary.
was this?
It was a while ago now. Yeah.
Well, it's been like 2 months since that happened.
2 months. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Okay.
but like the best advice I can give to anybody that's new in crypto is that seed phrase you should never take a photo of it. You should never type it to yourself in an email or
Good
even
old
put it
school.
on the cloud.
Yeah.
I would physically write it down.
Yeah, pen and paper.
Yep.
Write it
So
down.
I want to tell you. So I'm very sad to hear that we met several months ago before the hack, right?
Yeah.
So I had introduced this Ballet wallet to you. So I want to take this chance to explain it, and not just to plug the product, but to really explain this. I designed this product to be cold storage, and this is a unique patented solution that avoids seed phrases altogether. Right? Our approach is we don't want the backup seed phrases, because the backup seed phrases is a Pandora's box. You know the expression Pandora's box. And the reason is a lot of people unknowingly will screw up the process. It's what you said, right? When you take a photo of the seed phrases, put it on your phone, so it's in the photo album, or you upload to iCloud or whatnot, or you send it as an SMS message or iMessage
email
to
it
yourself or
yourself.
to your
Yep.
to your best friend or to your spouse or girlfriend, boyfriend, right? And then that means it's on 2 devices. So the more devices on, the more vectors for attack,
Yep.
right? So the seed phrase is actually your money. So you don't want to mismanage that. So that's why we created this wallet, which is for the 99%. I've fundamentally, through my decade experience, I fundamentally believe that the vast majority of people on Earth, whether it's Americans or Europeans, whatnot, don't have the technical know-how to manage all of that safely.
Yeah.
People like my mom, maybe people like yourself. So it's better, it's actually safer to put on cold storage as a bearer asset. With this wallet, all you have to worry about is not to lose it.
I know, that's the only thing.
Whereas with all the other wallets, you have to not only worry about not losing it, you have to worry about not disclosing and losing access to the seed phrase.
Yeah, we've already had 2 mishaps now with seed phrases. This one obviously getting hacked, and then we
The other
lost
one,
a
we-
Bitcoin wallet seed phrase.
I didn't even know what a seed phrase was. I didn't
And
write
you
it
just
down.
didn't- yeah.
I just assumed, if I forget my password in the future, I can
Just
just
reset
email
password.
customer support.
And there's no
But
reset.
it does not work that
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
And what we've done
Have
with
you started using Ballet?
Yes.
Oh, most
Okay.
of our money is on Ballet. now.
Good.
Yeah, and that was not hacked.
Yeah.
But what we did with our Ballet is to remove human error.
Yeah.
I lose things, so
Can't say too
I
much.
You can't say you don't want to say too much.
Yeah.
But as long as you're happy with it, we can talk
Yeah.
offline.
Well, no.
But don't
just
don't
keep it
reveal
like
don't
that. Okay.
reveal all the locations and stuff like that.
Okay.
But generally speaking, you can
Tyler.
talk about that. You know how to keep it safe and stuff like that, right?
Okay.
We're keeping it very safe.
Good. And I want to point out one more thing is with this wallet, we purposely have no passwords.
Yep.
So when people first hear about this, they're like, "Oh, okay, then anyone can get to it. It's not safe." I'm like, you got to think deeper. You got to think harder. When something has a password, it's actually artificial safety. It's safety only in mind, but it's not real safety because human memory is fallible. If the password gets forgotten, or if the person who knows the password disappears or passes away, then it's very secure, but you'll never get access to the crypto again,
Yeah.
which is terrible, right?
Yeah.
You've heard of stories where people take their crypto to the grave,
Yep.
right? So we purposely make this a bearer asset, no passwords. As long as you have the card, you will have unfeathered access to your cryptocurrency, and that's what we want.
Yeah,
Easy
sure.
access. Treat it like a bar of gold, gold, silver, right?
It's just a thing of not losing it.
Not losing it. Don't lose it. And by the way, if you want, you can diversify. If you want to only say, okay, I want to only allocate 30% of my crypto to something like this, and the rest you could do it other ways, right? You're not forced to say, oh, you got to put all your eggs in one basket. Yeah. So it's interesting. I didn't realize you guys were victims of this hacking. That's kind of sad.
It's sad that T-Mobile allowed that to happen.
Yeah, it's happened to a lot of people. I know people who've lost millions of dollars.
Wow.
We try to go.
It's called SIM jacking.
Yep.
It's called SIM card hijacking. SIM jacking.
But they allow it though. It's like how does
there are lawsuits, not just T-Mobile, AT&T. They're all facing lawsuits from these various people. I mean, you can sue them in small claims court or large claims, whatever.
Yeah, we didn't lose enough in damages.
Yeah, the lawyer told us his fee is going to be more than what we lost. He's like, don't even bother. But, it's like we all think that it would never happen to us. I've always thought that, like, I hear about hacks, but no, the chance of it happening to me, it's not going to happen.
It wakes you up, though, when it happens. You're like, okay, we have to look at this differently now.
Okay, so my next advice is, since you've already been hacked, I have a follow-up advice, okay? What I tell people is, assuming you got some Bitcoin hacked or whatever other currency, if you're investing for the long term, it is very important that you spend your savings money and buy back the Bitcoin that you lost.
Yep, we're doing that.
Okay, good. Make sure you do that, because what you don't want to do is what I call a double whammy. It's a single whammy to get hacked. It's a big whammy to get hacked. You lose your crypto. But the double whammy is 5 years later when the crypto price goes up another 20x, and then not only did you lose a small amount, it becomes a bigger amount, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, now I've lost millions.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So it's only 20,000, whatever it was.
Double it up.
Buy it back. That way you make it a single whammy. It's just, at worst, you've lost $20,000.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Because you still hold the crypto, the one that you newly purchased, to replenish the ones you lost. Yep. And if Bitcoin goes up, go down, as if it didn't matter, right?
Yeah.
The hacking.
Yep.
Okay, so make sure you do that.
No, we're already doing it.
Yeah, we got lucky.
Okay.
Actually, the prices came down.
There you go.
And then I was like, all right, I'm buying in right now.
Buying back, and that you should allocate that. That's the Bitcoin that you originally lost. And put that away safely. Put it in the Ballet, or split across different Ballet wallets in different locations, either around the house or bank safes or whatnot.
We were just talking to this older guy, and he was like, yeah, it has like 100 something Bitcoins in Coinbase. And we just looked at him like what
you
are you doing?
Yeah. If your Bitcoins are on Coinbase or an exchange, then they're not really yours, right?
Yeah.
They're only in yours by virtue of Coinbase allowing you to access it. And over the years, there have been more and more restrictions placed on Coinbase accounts, not because Coinbase is evil, not that at all, but because of the regulators. Right now, they need real ID, they need social security numbers, they want your full name. So it's getting more and more strict. And for example, Russians cannot access a Coinbase anymore.
Yeah.
So today, none of us are Russian here, so we didn't get affected. But there are hundreds of thousands of Russians who have accounts on Coinbase are now locked out.
Wow.
Right? Think about that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And Coinbase, they have to comply with the rules of the sanctions and all that. So their hands are tied.
Wow.
Yeah, there was an article on Coinbase not long ago, right, saying that they could take all your money. Remember what was that?
Oh, there was an article that if Coinbase ever goes bankrupt, technically your money is their money.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a crazy revelation.
I think it's called a bail-in, where the banks were bailed out by the government. There's also something called a bail-in where, even for banks, hey, all of your money is technically our money now.
Yeah.
That's always
crazy.
sort of a risk. So once again, trying to get the money out of the banks.
Yes.
Yeah. So be careful about that.
Put it on your Ballet wallet.
Think about it. Yeah. Good. Okay, good. So any other questions, or should we wrap up for today?
No, that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
That was
Okay, great. Good chatting with you, Sophie. Good chatting with you, Tyler. And thanks for being on my show, Bobby Lee Bitcoin. And hope you guys enjoy the show today, and come back for the next episode of Bobby Lee Bitcoin podcast. Thank you all. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, very good.